Edwin Mejia Jr., welcome to Listening with Leaders. You are the co-founder of Generation Iron Fitness Network. That's a mouthful. And the website can be found at generationiron.com. It's one of the most interesting businesses I've ever run across. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate you having me on.
So how would you describe Generation Iron Fitness Network? What it's so much, but there must be a way to describe it for a simpleton like me in just a few words.
It's look, Generation Iron today is known as the leading independent strength sports publisher in the world.
Okay.
What we do here at Generation Iron is that we are curators of strength sports content. We produce, create, and also distribute the largest entertainment catalog of strength sports films, short form content for fitness, health, news, entertainment. And we also provide tools and all the resources and expert knowledge from our writers for readers and listeners around the world that want to learn about training, nutrition, guidance, and entertainment.
Now, I know you're a native New York guy, and you worked for Lehman Brothers for a while. How the heck do you go from finance on Wall Street to being the co-founder of this massive media empire that you've got? What's that story all about?
So that's a great story and a great question. For me, it's been quite the journey, to say the least. I mean, born and raised in New York, I said to myself, I always wanted to work in finance. And after playing baseball in college and realizing I wasn't going to be a Major League Baseball player, I got injured sophomore year in college. I started doing internships in finance. That for me was a blessing in disguise, because I realized very quickly that I needed to have some form of experience in the finance world before I graduated college in order to land a job as an analyst in one of the top banks in New York City. And luckily for me, I worked very hard to achieve that. I gained some experience, met some really great people, portfolio managers and asset managers in New York. And in my senior year, before the first semester of my senior year, I ended up getting an offer to work at Lehman Brothers as part of their global real estate analyst department. And then fast forward, May of 2008, I put my 2 weeks notice in, because I realized very quickly, Doug, that I learned a lot. I met a lot of great people, but it really ultimately wasn't for me. I wanted a little bit more. I wanted something different. I wanted to get into the arts. I had a passion for the arts. I had a passion for media. And I've been very good friends with my business partner today, who's a good friend of mine I went to school with, Vlad Uden, who's a director. And he said, hey, why don't you come on board and help me produce this film that I'm doing? When I was producing this film called Last Day of Summer, which is actually the poster right behind me. And it's a film that we produced and sold to Showtime and Entertainment One. Had Nikki Reed from the movie Twilight at the time, and we sold it internationally. And that allowed us to create a business out of it. And we grew our business to become a distributor and hybrid producer of film, TV content worldwide.
And today, when I look at your website, my jaw drops at how the breadth of what you guys are doing. It's unbelievable.
We've been very fortunate to work with a lot of great people over the years. After I believe in 2014, 2013, we met Arnold. That was a pivotal moment for me, and it changed my life in many ways, not only because he's someone that's been very influential in the fitness bodybuilding world, but someone who is very, very revered and obviously respected. I realized very quickly that I loved fitness. I learned a lot about health and nutrition through him and his events at the Arnold Classic. And we did a movie called Generation Iron, which reintroduced the world to bodybuilding, similar to how pumping iron did for that generation, but Generation Iron did it for a new generation. And we started working with the Olympia, which is the Oscars of bodybuilding today, and the Arnold Classic. And that made us realize there's a huge opportunity to tell, amazing, unique stories in the fitness space. And now we've grown our catalog to over 40 titles that are distributed across Netflix, Hulu, Prime, and many streamers around the world.
Wow. So you've been doing this for a while now. I mean, you started this back in the late, 2009, 2010, somewhere in there?
So we've been producing since 2010. We've been producing a lot of docs, fashion docs, music docs. And then we've been in the fitness industry now that, we've grown into for the last decade.
Wow.
So we've been in the for the last 10 years, we've been not only producing live events for like the Arnold Classic and the Olympia, but we've been producing a lot of the streaming network platform with the platforms of fitness, strength sports stats that you see today.
So what is it that gets you excited to get up in the morning and go to work now, today, after all this success?
Yeah, look, for me, it's been working with new people, different people, and many people from around the world that really not only impact our lives, but help they tell incredible stories, and being able to work and meet people that really can inspire and motivate you to change your perspective and create new perspective and learn how to look at different things in a new light. I mean, for us, it's really about motivation, inspiration, and creating a story that provides a lot of empathy, right? These underserved stories really need to be told in a way where they can reach new viewers and new audiences. And that's what motivates me every day.
Wow. So you're out looking for stories of people. So let's just take the bodybuilding space, for example. Maybe you've got a kid's in some country that's a little underdeveloped and he has this dream of being the next Arnold. And those are the stories you're looking for, the ones that get successful.
100%. I mean, we spent some time in Ghana, we spent time in Brazil. I mean, seeing how people live in these parts of the world, it's quite fascinating. But what unites everybody is their interest for bodybuilding, for fitness, for strength sports, and obviously the dream to become the next Arnold. It's really fascinating, and I love it. I mean, I love strength sports. I think strength sports is at it's at the center of everything that you do today. Nowadays, everybody wants to get into strength training. Everybody wants to get into some form of functional fitness. And I think that is what makes Generation Iron special, where we're marrying not only the movies and the films, but also the education as a platform too.
Well, I mean, it's critical stuff. I mean, I have a coach and I do my strength training. I'm 73 years old. I do strength training once a week, Pilates twice a week, walk 3 miles every single day. And I mean, that's how you have to be if you want to live.
And look, I mean, it's you're a testament to that too, Doug. I mean, for you to be living that and being that like that way every single day and be having that to be a part of your life, it's very, very important.
Yeah.
And consistency is something that we really, really preach here. And what I love about bodybuilding and strength sports is that there's a discipline behind it that really translates well to your day-to-day business.
That's right. That's right. And it allows you, I mean, when you get a little older, it allows me to keep doing the things I love. Like this Friday, I'm going skiing. I'll do 9,000 vertical feet in 2.5 hours, right up the hill here. I mean, 73 years old. It's cool.
That is impressive. I mean, I hope that, obviously once I get to your age, which I know everybody doesn't, sometimes they don't even think about it, but I think you want to be living a healthy, active lifestyle and at the very least have health as a priority in your life.
Well, and I think that's what I like about you and your business is that it inspires everybody to say, hey, I can do this. I may not be an Arnold, but I can get into shape. I can get fit. I can eat well. I can exercise. And you're right, it takes discipline, but it's totally doable. And it's doable without a whole lot of expense if you have to do it at home, for example.
Exactly. And then nowadays you have gyms all over the place. You have at-home gyms. You have
Right.
online training platforms and programs, and a lot of great coaches online that are reaching people that have never been able to, they've never been able to reach before.
Right.
I think it's a huge value add to that you never had in the past. And we try to connect the dots as well with our coaches and trainers and readers online. And I think that's what we really love to strive for, not just entertainment, but be able to provide a voice for coaches as well.
I saw you do a little martial arts stuff. I'm a secondary black belt in a Northern Chinese animal style. I was curious about that.
Yeah, look, I mean, we ventured into martial arts and MMA and all that back in 2016, 2017. We did a movie called The Hurt Business, which was really exciting for us. We went out to New Mexico, we went out to Florida, we went out to Canada to interview George St. Pierre, spend some time with him on training. We spent some time with Ronda Rousey, John Jones, and we were able to work with the UFC and Bellator on that film. And that was a really inspiring film because it really showed the behind the scenes journey for some of these athletes in terms of what it takes to prepare
Pretty rough.
and physically. And I was happy to work with Kevin Costner on that film too. He was a narrator on that project, and his kids are big fans, MMA fans, and martial artists as well.
Cool. So as you think about all of this, and you're a success in a multimedia company kind of directed at fitness generally, what is it that's unique about you that you bring to the table that has made all of this work?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, right now in our space, we've been dedicated to creating premium entertainment content, premium content for film, TV, documentary series. We've been in a situation where we've been filling a void, Doug, in the strength sports space for film and stories that are for underserved stories. And
Mhm.
we've been doing that now for I would say the last decade or so. And that's what's really differentiated our platform and our ability to stand out amongst other peers in the industry and in the fitness and the bodybuilding space. So we've been able to create content that not only inspires, motivates, but also empowers people. And we do that with our films. And now we've also become a distributor of all the mediums in our space too.
I'm curious about you, though, personally. What is it about you?
For me, I mean, look, I mean, the number one thing, I was never really into fitness. I was a baseball player growing up. However, the opportunity to feel better every day and change people's perspective of health and nutrition is really something that inspired me. I grew up really with a family that was from the Dominican Republic, came here and immigrants and really trying to create the best possible opportunity home for their kids. And growing up, I didn't have all the resources available to me, all the information that I needed to necessarily become successful, but I knew that I wanted to create a better opportunity for myself. And that obviously stemmed from health and nutrition.
Mm.
Working in finance was great, but I remember working those late nights, having all those carbs, and I didn't want that for myself for a long period for a long period of time. I knew I had to change. And I think fitness itself was something that really allowed myself to change my perspective on content, nutrition, my health and business.
The thought came to me as I was listening to you that the whole technology around streaming with Netflix and Disney, now Disney, Hulu, and all these other streaming companies that are streaming over the internet, it seems to me that provided the opportunity for you guys because you could produce content that they were looking for that they could distribute out on their platforms to other people. Would that be a fair assessment?
Yeah, look, I mean, as I entered the industry back in 2010, 2012, I realized very quickly that we needed to retain ownership of our content. You
Mhm.
know, the reason why I say that, Doug, is because we were in an industry, and still to this day, people follow this model where you produce something and then you license it. Those days are long gone. We realized very early that we wanted to retain ownership of the content that we produced.
Oh.
And that allowed us to not only create better projects, high quality projects, but it allowed us to retain ownership and of the downstream revenue distribution model that we have. And then that allowed us to sell or license certain windows to Netflix, Hulu, Prime, and many of the streamers, but we still retained our own ownership of our windows through our electronic sell-through windows for rental and purchases. And the reason why that was so important for us is because we were able to grow our audience organically very early on. So we retain an audience now that reaches millions of viewers and readers. So we're able to monetize that and provide them with high quality content, but at the same time, license the subscription windows to the streamers as opposed to selling all of our rights.
And that makes total sense to me. And the streamers are happy to license because you're giving them a built-in audience.
Correct. And that was really the big bargaining chip that we had going into our discussions with many of the streamers, is that not only are we bringing an audience, but we're also providing talent that is willing to promote these titles that have millions of followers. Early on, Doug, people would laugh at social media, but sometimes social media became so powerful. You see nowadays, you see guys like The Rock, Mark Wahlberg, that they'll get the exclusive to release a trailer on their YouTube, on social media. We did the same thing with our audiences that had millions of followers and athletes that had millions of followers as well. And then we were able to monetize our audience pretty quickly.
What kind of responsibilities do you have day to day for the kinds of things that go on in the business? I'm just trying to understand how your day looks and what kinds of things you do as a co-founder of the company.
Yeah, it's a good question. So I run business development here. So I handle all in-house productions, co-productions. I also oversee all of our distribution partnerships and our streaming platforms. So on a day-to-day basis, I would say I would divide it into a third, a third, a third. A third of our business, a third of my day goes into development, assuring that we continue to create great quality content with the partners that we've already signed on with, producers, filmmakers, and also the streamers and distributors that have come to us to aggregate content and to distribute content.
Mhm.
Another third of that is involved in overseeing our production process, making sure our production is on time, making sure that our edits are on time, ensuring that our trailers and our videos are being done right, sitting down with our marketing guys here to make sure we can review that. And another third, of course, is dedicated to just focusing on listening and working with our team to making sure that we can get the valuable feedback that we need to continue to grow together as a group and as a team.
How many people are involved in the company?
We have right now 17 core people in our team.
Right.
That consists of editors, producers, and also our marketing team.
And then when you get a film project, then of course you're going to assemble the crew and the people, the talent, and all that. And those can be, I don't know. I think you guys probably run pretty lean budgets, but you're still talking 20, 30 people sometimes.
Sometimes, however, it depends on the project, depends where we're shooting. A lot of it does vary, but we've been very, very, very efficient with our team, and we're very careful to not over screw up on certain projects because, as you know, documentaries are a little different. Docuseries are a little different. You want to be very lean depending on where you're shooting.
Right.
We shot in basically every continent imaginable except Antarctica at this point. And we know that sometimes less is better, less is more when you're shooting in certain locations to get the best quality stories.
So do you have like a cadre of people like directors and cinematographers and sound people that you go to when you have a project and you're ready to go?
Yeah, so we have our director, my producing partner, Vlad Udin. He directs the majority of the original programs that we create.
Mhm.
And we have another director we work with directly out of LA, but we have a core team here, our core camera team. It's all in-house, and then we have a core editorial team. Which is why we've been vertically integrated for years, and we've been very efficient with our content. A lot of filmmakers take years to produce projects, and that's usually normally the case. For us, it takes a lot less because we keep everybody and everything that we do in-house.
So you can handle everything from pre-production all the way through post-production and distribution.
Correct. I mean, that's really the only way these days as a hybrid independent producer to succeed in today's marketplace. It's almost impossible to continue to create, successful projects because sometimes they take too long to create.
Right. So this show's called Listening with Leaders because I think listening is the foundational skill of life. Tell me about how you learned how to listen.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think growing up, I've realized playing in collegiate sports, playing high school sports, I think that provided a lot of a discipline, pretty much a big discipline for me. And I realized very quickly that listening has to be instrumental to learning success and accomplishing things as a group and as a core team. And that is something that I learned very quickly in sports. And I think I'm very thankful for my opportunity to work in sports and carry that over to not only the finance world, but now the media entertainment world as well, and the distribution world. And I think listening has provided a lot of valuable feedback for us to grow as a team, to grow as a company, but more importantly, to create and cultivate talent. You have to be able to listen in order to be able to work with great talent.
Yes, I mean, I teach a skill that allows people to listen other people into existence so they feel deeply, deeply heard. And when you get that skill mastered, you can calm any angry person in 90 seconds or less. You can build trust and loyalty and rapport, all of that, because you're focused on listening from the speaker's frame of reference rather from your own frame of reference. Have you ever seen that work where you're actually listening to somebody to make sure they feel heard?
Yeah, look, it has happened several times. In fact, with some of our core members, I think having an opportunity to listen to them really helps strengthen our culture.
Yeah.
It helps strengthen not only the communication, but helps with executing the visions that we have for each individual project. We could be working right now, we're working on 14 different projects.
Wow.
We have to be able to
That's a lot.
have to be able to listen, have to be able to sit down and really gain the feedback that's necessary for us to continue to proceed with our projects.
Where do you see your company going in the next 10 years?
That's a great question. I mean, for us, it's really important that we are the #1 resource for all things strength sports, entertainment, fitness, news. We would like to describe ourselves, Doug, as the ESPN for strength sports.
Wow.
We want to be the ESPN for strength sports, meaning that we are a one-stop location for all you need in terms of training, nutrition, guidance, entertainment, and health. I mean, that's really what it comes down to for us. And we want to continue to be the #1 leading catalog for strength sports and fitness and bodybuilding.
I mean, it's interesting. I'm not, I don't spend a lot of time in that space, but I'm wondering how well known a brand you are within the fitness industry. So I'm thinking about, for example, your local fitness clubs, coaches, fitness coaches, people like that. Are most people that are in the business aware of who you guys are?
Yeah, so most people do know us in the fitness industry. They know us, of course, from the films and the film content that they see on the streaming platforms. So we're very grateful for those partnerships that we've been able to establish in the streaming and the TV world. But we've launched personal training facilities now. We've launched a personal training facility in New York.
Oh, physical facilities, brick and
Yeah,
mortar.
yeah, brick and mortar personal training facilities with specialized coaches. In Dubai, we're launching in Florida. We're launching
Wow.
in Amsterdam as well. And then in addition to that, we've been working with a lot of nutrition and doctors as well in the strength space. People want to learn about how to gain muscle, quality muscle, how to retain mass, how to lose weight the right way. There's a lot of questions that come up, and believe it or not, sometimes searching for that online can get a little bit complicated.
Well,
So we want to be able to facilitate that and simplify it in a way where we have the right experts, coaches, and trainers on our platform providing that information.
and I'm just curious, how much work do you do in reaching out to younger people?
Oh, right now, so our Gen Z, we're reaching about, I would say 40% or 35 or 40% of our audience is reaching out to young Gen Z audiences. I mean, we have 75% of our audience is here in the States, with another 15 in Canada, and the rest, the majority of that is spread across UK, Australia, Brazil. But we're reaching a young audience right now, particularly on YouTube, where we're reaching over 700,000 subscribers. And we have a few podcasts that we run and manage as well. So we're reaching a lot of big people on the world, big people that are into nutrition, bodybuilding, through big names like Michael Hearn, a lot of strength athletes in the space.
Mm-hmm. Good for you. It sounds so exciting what you're doing and so much fun.
It's a lot of fun because obviously we get to work with a lot of strength athletes, bodybuilders, like I mentioned. There's a lot of legendary bodybuilders. We're working on one right now with Robbie Robinson, who was the first Black bodybuilder to grace a cover in a bodybuilding magazine. He was also in Pumping Iron. We're doing his life story. Incredible story. We're also working on Chris Bumstead's life story. He's the most famous Canadian bodybuilder alive. He's the 5-time reigning champion now. Many people compare him to the Arnold of today. And a lot of great projects that we're working on and we're excited about. And this year we're also producing a documentary on the 60th anniversary of the Olympia,
Wow.
which is in Las Vegas this October. So we're shooting that and we're working on that project.
Wow. So you wake up every morning with a smile on your face and you go to sleep with a smile on your face.
So, let me tell you, Doug, there's a lot of being an entrepreneur. You have your days, and there's days people, there's always a problem, always a challenge. But you know what? What's helped me a lot in facing those difficult moments and challenges that I've had over the years is having a partner that is very supportive. and people that you can work with, that you enjoy working with, that you can depend on. Because a lot of entrepreneurs out there might have the impression that you could do everything by yourself. It's not possible.
Right.
It's not possible. I'm a firm believer that you need strategic partners and you need partners that can help you grow and vice versa.
Good for you. One more question, I'll let you go, Edwin. What's one thing about yourself that we would never know about unless you revealed it to us?
I'm a very, 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 I would say this, I'm very involved with our local communities in New York. New York State, as well as many other states, are facing, especially public access networks, Doug, are facing an existential crisis right now with cable, right? Cable television, as you know, there's a lot of cord cutting in cable. So I've recently become a chairman of the board at BronxNet, which is a nonprofit public access television network here in New York State, out of the Bronx. So we have become an incredible training facility for young students that are looking to go into the arts, into media, want to know technology, broadcasting, editing, filming. And we've also become a voice for Bronx Night and Bronx natives and communities in the Bronx. So underserved communities, we're becoming a voice for everybody that wants to tune in about anything that's happening in the world, anything that's happening locally with the Bronx. So they're part of, for me, most people don't realize that I am giving back to our community. I'm consistently working with our community to make sure that they get the proper training, information, and education, something I didn't have growing up. And I want to make sure they have an opportunity to learn about technology, media, and just a new avenue of how to create a career.
Great. That's really great. I know that community access has been a really important aspect in many, many communities around the country. And it is threatened. It's threatened by funding shortages, by technology changes, but it's always been a place where young people can learn and voices can be heard that otherwise would not have an opportunity to be heard because of who they are and what they're saying. And I presume that's what you're supporting with the Bronx Community Access.
100%. I mean, we've had our interns, a lot of part-time and full-time employees become anchors, become broadcast producers at ABC, CNN, all these great networks around the country. So we want to continue to do that. And I want to be able to continue to have BronxNet grow. We have an incredible facility for VR training now. There's AI being implemented. So there's a lot of things like that I want to be a part of that a lot of people don't know about, that I do get involved on a daily, weekly basis.
Well, good for you, Edwin. It's been so great talking with you today. I mean, you're an amazing guy doing amazing work, and I'm honored to be able to have this conversation with you.
Doug, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you and meet you soon.